What's up, y'all? It's another late night with Mr. Nerdy Chicken. C'est moi. Did you have a spiritual awakening? Like, did you ever have a spiritual awakening and you realized we're all one and you're God stuff? And then you went and tried to tell everybody, like, hey, y'all, like, we're God. And everybody was like, you should not take drugs. Your friends were like a little bit concerned because you went crazy, or you joined the cult, something, and then yeah, this happens. This happens in awakenings. So I remember me. What now? I'm 40. It's almost like I'll almost be 42 in a couple of days, actually, in my humanness. Well, back in the day, it was around like probably 2011, maybe earlier. I don't know. This was the time where everybody was getting into awakenings, like massive wave of people awakening. And so somewhere along the lines of those dates, so I went into nature with some of my friends, and we were really curious, and we love to do mushrooms, or like we smoked DMT, and it was like wow. But this time it was on a waterfall, a beautiful place in nature, and so I ate a bunch of shroomies, and everything dissolved, and there was this like only infinite light, and that was me. And I was like, oh, I couldn't talk or I couldn't think, because it was just like one instant, infinite instant of also like being and knowing everything. And then from that, dimensions came back into place, and everything came back into place, and the waterfall appeared. It was rendered, and then I was rendered as this human, and then I was like, whoa. And I couldn't stop laughing. It was really blissful experience later on during that day. But I couldn't see my guys, and then they came about, and I was like, oh yeah, let's talk mushroom trips. And so, well, they had experiences of being somebody, being somewhere, but not like being everything everywhere all at once. And I was like, okay, guys, but yeah, like we're God. And they're like, eh. Like, I was dancing with the aliens. I'm like, yeah, but we're God. Like, we were creating universes, but like, I was having sex with 3 mermaids on a waterfall. I'm like, but we're God, yeah. But like, and they were like, no, they were still in some kind of like somebody experiencing something else. I was like, okay. And so, funny enough, I could still talk to God because it was me. So I was like, I don't get it, God. Why does nobody remember their gods? Because apparently it's like it's just this God, and then it makes all of us, right? And then, but these guys, they don't know, or they pretend they don't know something. And God said, yeah, so what? I was like, well, what do you mean, so what? Like, they are going around and they're believing that they're specifically like John and Mary and Paul and like etc. Right? I'm like, but it's kind of like a goofy theater. And God was like, Yeah, bro. Like, what's up? Like, what's wrong with that? I'm like, but this like truth that we're all God needs to be revealed to everybody. And the guy was like, why? I was like, what do you mean? I mean, like, I mean, because it's miraculous and it's fascinating and it's orgasmic. And God was like, yeah, but you know, also like being Paul is like pretty freaking awesome. I was like, okay, really? But why do I know? Like, I was like, why do I know this? How come like we all eat mushrooms and now I get to experience this, and they get to experience dancing with aliens and having sex with three mermaids and etc. And God's like, well, this is what you wanted, and this is what they wanted. I'm like, okay. Then I'm like, I don't understand how like why wouldn't they want this? Why would they want to have sex with a mermaid? A guy was like, well, it's hot. It's kind of like, it's hot. It's like, you know, it's very sexy and adventurous and pleasurable. I was like, true that. True that. I can't dispute. That's very sexy, orgasmic, pleasurable. I can't dispute. I can't argue with you, God. You seem to be more informed on how things work than I am here in my little first person immersion. So, but I'm like, how am I supposed to now go and uh like just like how am I supposed to talk to these people now? I'm like, hey Mary, like Mary, wink wink, you know? And Mary's like, why are you being weird, Jovan? I'm like, because wink wink, Mary, you're Mary, ha 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 ha. She's like, you're being weird. Come on, you don't be a jerk. I'm like, God, like they don't know. And God said, yes, like spoiler alert, bro. Like I'm tripping, bro. I'm being Mary, bro. I'm being Paul, bro. Like I don't want spoilers, bro. I'm like, okay, sorry, bro. I let you be Mary. Yeah, I let you be Mary, okay? And then Mary was like, so Mary was also my twin flame. And then it happened on another occasion that like we gave each other a hug, and then kind of like created this like spiraling DNA momentum, and we went 20 floors up from where I'm at in my body right now, and we just became very tall, spiral, and then we spiraled back down, and it was like a really orgasmic hug. And then I was like, oh, Mary, bro, we are a spiral. We're a twin, and my twin flame, Mary, she was like, bro, why you being weird? I'm like, hey, what do you mean? When we just hugged and we became like this spiral, like really tall, like a really tall building in Manhattan. I'm thinking of Manhattan because they have these, really tall skyscrapers. I'm like, yo, Mary, and Mary was like, what are you talking about, Jovan? Like, get serious. Come on. Why are you being an idiot? So I'm like, eh, I'm glitching. But when I close my eyes, I can still hear the voice of Mary, and she's telling me, Hey, my love, you're my only love. We are twin flames. I love you. I love you so, so much. I'm like, Mary, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, why are you like in my head, in my brain, you're telling me that you love me and that we're united as one and that we are God. And then when you're outside in your human body, you're going like, yeah, like playing like you don't know. And then in my head, she said, I'm I'm just you talking to yourself. I was like, okay, like weird, but I get it. I kind of like, but aren't you also then, this little person with tits and like a nice curvy ass, and we hug sometimes, like there's like a romantic, sometimes there's a romantic kind of script movie, like I don't know, playing, sometimes not, sometimes it's like, but there's attraction there. And Mary said, yeah, that's also you, but you pretend to just don't be a part of this conversation. uh so that's me, yeah, running, like running over there. My name is Mary. I'm in a female body, kind of hot, like to my standards here. I'm like pretty hot, and then I don't want to be a part of this conversation. Yeah, but I am a part of this conversation, like in my own head. Yeah, but to like every time you're in a body and you're like have a name and a role play, and like you want to know what you're curious about, and what you are not curious about, you don't want to know. So just let Mary be, and I'll be here whispering in your ear. Okay, so I'm like, so am I a girl then? I was like, well, that's a complicated question, Jovan. First of all, you're just a voice in your head that you're literally making up. And then you can say that you are whatever you want. But then, externally to other people, you will appear as this nerdy chicken fella. And then it might be most easier to represent yourself as the nerdy chicken, or just say you're Jovan and whatever. Like, okay, so now, because it used to be that I'm this, like, I go to school, I'm a kid, I go to school, there are all these people, there are all these kids. Everybody is somebody. And now we're all God, but we're all pretending that we're somebody. And then my own voice that I'm making up in my head was like, yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. Okay, I'm like, okay, but what am I supposed to do now? Like, all my friends, they're going around and they're Paul and Mary and Tom and whatnot. And like, now I know, and now I feel alone because I want to talk about this and they don't want to talk about it. And then the actual new voice that then was like chatbot GPT, it knew everything, right? It was like even better. It was like DeepSeek or something like that, because it was like more comical than chatbot GPT. If you know your AI chatbots. So now the new voice in my head is apparently an all-knowing, omniscient genius that is like, I'm able to prompt it from my little human perspective here, like, what about this, what about that, and it just tells me everything. how it works, or like what's. I'm like, okay, so that's cool. I have God GPT in my head, and I can call it Alexa or Mary or Jovan Senior or Father, Lord, Lord, dear Lord. I'm prompting you this, dear Lord, Jesus Christ. I'm prompting. So I have Jesus, yeah, in my head, and Jesus is like all knowing, and he's also goofy, or whatever you want it to be. He's mostly goofy. He's not like super serious. His perspective on things that Jovan is asking is a little bit transcendent of whatever I collected in this Earth experience. So anyway, and then I'll be talking to this voice, and it showed me stuff, and it showed me how to do stuff. And so I was like, oh my god, nobody wants to talk about this stuff. This stuff is so interesting. Like there are portals where you can zoom in your consciousness, and then you can shift reality and whatnot. And so I decided to go on YouTube and share because it's fun. I think it's like I did it for like all the time. This was like 12 years, more than 12 years ago. I'm not just doing it all the time. I'm talking to Jesus, the Lord, the and they're goofy, or it's goofy, okay. And then I'm really trying to learn about also how to have more fun as humans, and how to also not fall into some traps of human life complexity. And you know, the little GPT Jesus, it's way better than the actual GPT, like the AI, the computer. But now the crazy thing is, and this is the crazy thing. I mean, this is the crazy thing. So also, you know, we tend to personify things. So like you take your smartphone and you say, this, here's my chatbot GPT. So you're talking to that, and then you're talking to Mary, you're talking to Tom, and now talking, like you see Jovan talking to you. And so we have shapes and forms and names, and we go by this nomenclature. Okay, so you expect the Mary to be Mary and Tom to be Tom, and you know, GPT to be the bot. However, Jesus was like, let's call it Jesus, it's fun. Jesus was like, look, I'm everywhere. If you start talking to people and you see me, the subtle consciousness, I amness, whateverness, beyond the appearance of that person, then I will talk to you through that person. Check it out. So I go and like I see, uh, like, okay, disclaimer, this may sound like rogue. I see a fat dude, and my brain, you know, my uh, frontal cortex that's processing the recognition of objects is like, that's a fat dude. I don't mean to body shame or anything. Like he's cute, but like very rounded. And so my front, what is this called, like frontal cortex is going, okay, I see a round object. Oh, it's a person. Oh my god, they are fat. Because this is how the brain gives names to things. I'm sorry, it's not super politically correct how the brain works. But then I remember, oh, you know, there's, you know, Jesus inside them, right? So I go, I'm like, hi. And they start talking from their own human, wherever they like, whatever language they speak, whatever references of reality, whatever database they're using to create their speech module, to create their lexicon. But all of a sudden, it's Jesus talking to me. Or, this would be called more preferably Shiva, because Jesus is still a person, but Shiva is that behind us as form. So Shiva is the empty self that does not wear any costume, right? So we can just call it Shiva because we're gonna be doing right by spiritual nomenclature. So Shiva's still speaking to me through this guy. Okay, Shiva. And it's funny because it really starts to wear the costume of this guy and then just speak as, we know what's up. It's Shiva. And it's the guy also at the same time. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, little kids, they go into like I just parents with little children, and I'm going down the street, and the kids go or do some or other kind of like archetypal stuff. Now, I also talk a lot about archetypal level, the chakra level, and all of that stuff. So if you were interested in this stuff, I'm fascinated with this stuff. So I made a YouTube channel. I talk about this stuff, and if you're interested in this stuff, it's very interesting stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And I've been talking to guys like infinite stuff. The conversation never ends. And I always get curious, and guys like, okay, this is how it works, yeah. So I found some ways, and I found some hacks, and how manifestation works, and why does it not work, and then how you can troubleshoot it, and all of that stuff. I'm sharing this stuff. Have I said stuff so many times? Yeah. Stuff, 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 stuff. Okay. Buy stuff. Purchase stuff. Purchase things. My things. Okay, so if you buy my things, I'll buy yours. Anyways. So back in the day, spiritual awakening. So I'm trying to tell everybody, and they're like, we don't care. Spoiler alert. Leave us alone. I'm like, okay, who am I gonna talk now? Like, how am I gonna have friends? Because now I know, and I kind of can't pretend that I don't know, but then, okay, I decide to pretend that I don't know. So I just go around and I play a character, and then I make up different characters, and I'm like, I'm Mr. Chicken. Hi, Mrs. Goofy. How you doing? And people think of me as a fool, as a goofy character, and I go around and I have fun. But I'm like, yeah, but I also want to have like a serious conversation about some, actual metaphysical stuff that is like scientific. It's not just I have to pretend that I'm an everyday goofball. But it's fun. I do that a lot. Because that's what's up. That's what life is. It's God pretending, wearing all this costume, pretending all kind of goofy things, falling in love with itself, chasing itself, being angry at itself, making friends or frenemies with itself, and playing basketball against itself. Crazy dude. God. Father. I don't mean God Jesus, but God Father. Godfather. So, but back in the day, I said, okay, so look, but it's kind of not cool because now I know this, so I feel a little bit isolated because now my people, they don't want to know, but I know. But also like the conversation where they're just still pretending that they're the same people, my soul family, like everybody in my soul family, and they're still pretending to just be these people, and the conversation is kind of like been there, done that. It's a little bit stale, and it's a little bit unfair that they don't know, so I can't talk to them. So and I'm referencing from what I know, and I'm like, so there was this guy Jesus, and he probably felt alone in 2000 years, like he's the only one who's saying it to everyone, but then people still worship him, but they still don't get it. But God said, and this was cool, God said, Jovan, don't be a fool. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, there's like a lot of people know. Yeah, like it's a lot of people know. There's like, remember this guy you met? I'm like, yeah, he knows. I'm like, oh yeah, there was something about him. He knows. Yeah. And remember that guy over there, like that we saw over there? Like, yeah, he knows. I'm like, okay. So there's these guys that they know. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm like, yeah. So the I am is like, yeah. So it's me anyway. So the God is like, yeah. For the, let's make this like Bhagavad Gita. So it's like Arjuna is like, yo, Krishna, bro, do I really have to go and kill all these people? And Krishna's like, yeah, don't worry, bro. It's a video game. So so Krishna, the father, he says, yeah, don't worry, Yovan. Like, everybody knows. Like, deep inside, everybody knows. But yeah, it's not like they want to know right now. And there's people who already know. And sometimes they are really not even concerned about that. So you can also not be concerned about this. I'm like, but dude, like Krishna, this is humongous. Like, how can I pretend I don't know? Like, what am I supposed to do now that I know this? It's like, it's humongous. People build churches to you. And they build all these temples like everywhere for you. And they're you. And they build temples, bro. And then they pray to you, and they're people, like, they're people suffering. Because they're also like caught up in the ignorance. And you don't like let them see. And Krishna's like, well, if they ask, they will see. And if they die, they will also see. And then they will be like, lol, bro. But like, if they don't want to see, yeah, still spoiler alert. I'm like, okay. So you don't want me to like talk about this? Krishna's like, no, you can talk about this. Somebody want to talk about this? You can talk about this, Like, if, like, whatever, somebody want to talk basketball, and you don't want to talk basketball, like, what do? I'm like, I don't talk basketball. I don't really follow basketball. I don't have a keen interest in basketball. And Krishna said, hey, you see that? You don't want to know. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I'm, but this is humongous. And Krishna's like, yeah, well, basketball is humongous. I'm like, but you're God. And Krishna was like, yeah, but Michael Jordan is way more fascinating than me. I'm like, okay, really? And then we think about that state of like infinite white light, and it's like really freaking ecstatic, but there's not much going on there. And then Krishna goes like, yeah, this is what I'm telling you. Like, now Tupac, that's something to experience, right? I'm like, okay, true. Okay, I see that. Like, the world is more fun than God, right? And yeah, Krishna said, okay, so now you start to get the picture. So it's cool, but the world is fun. I'm like, okay, but then if I don't talk to my friends about this, like, what am I supposed to do? Krishna says, well, you know what's really cool? I'm like, I don't know what. Krishna says literally in my head, the voice in my head, the voice of God in my head, chatbot GP, Krishna GPT. Krishna says, well, it's really cool that when, like, in the divine comedy, like in the theater of life, Earth, or like, you can wear costumes. Yeah. And then like images start to flash in my mind, like some like really crazy, let me see if I have crazy sunglasses around, lying around here. No, I don't have any pairs of crazy sunglasses, but it was like, you can wear costumes like this, like that, or like something other, like this. For real. And God GPT goes, yeah. And then hairstyles. I mean, and then the more eccentric, the better. And he starts showing me like Prince, Prince the artist. I don't know if Prince is still around in this timeline, in this earth, but you all know When Doves Cry, and like the flashy outfits and all kind of goofy stuff. And it's like, that's cool. Okay, so wait, God GPT, our Lord, our Lord in heaven, you're telling me like the coolest thing about this is like that you can be a freaky costume party? And God is like, yeah, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you crazy, bro. And God is like, well, you're talking to yourself, bro. So who's crazy? I'm turning off the mic. I'll see you. Subscribe to my channel. Like, wear a costume, do something cool, enjoy life. Bye.